So it's National Stress Awareness Day today in the United Kingdom, and I wanted to make a video about stress in academia because a lot of students hold themselves back from stretching and challenging themselves on account of stress or the fear of stress. And that's certainly been my story. I'm a real stress head. I've lived a lifetime with anxiety, and that's made me very interested in stress and anxiety, what causes it and what solutions can there be. Because I want more people to realise their potential without fear, without that sort of sense of trepidation that something might go horribly wrong. Because in all likelihood, the worst that can happen is actually, ironically, that you don't push yourself, that you don't go and see how far you could end up. So let's talk about what stress even is. It's a reaction from the autonomic nervous system, and it was evolved well before human beings. So as far as our body is aware, it could be that we're stressed out by a saber-toothed tiger or writing an essay. We basically get the same reaction, right? That sort of fight, flight or freeze response, which is your sympathetic nervous system getting your heart pumping, getting your adrenal glands secreting adrenaline, all of those sorts of quite uncomfortable feelings that we have in a stressful circumstance. The way to counteract that is with the parasympathetic nervous system, which is what we feel when we're in a rest and digest mode of relaxation. Now, autonomic nervous system implies that we actually have relatively little control over managing our stress, although that's not entirely true, and there are various specific ways that we can concretely deal with stress. And academic stress specifically is likely to be associated with either internal or external stresses. The internal stressor will be something to do with imposter syndrome, that sense that we aren't good enough, we're not up to the task personally, and therefore we feel stressed because we're in over our heads. The external stresses will be if the task seems unmanageable, if we feel like we don't know what is expected of us, or the person teaching us is not giving us sufficiently clear guidance. Now, there are fairly concrete solutions to both of those things. The internal sort of imposter syndrome, we can just be clear that admissions criteria for universities, for schools, tend to be robust and should be trusted, that we're not, in fact, in all likelihood, imposters at all, and we can sort of dismiss those feelings as just inaccurate. The external problems where we're not sure what is expected of us, that's where we need to communicate. We need to talk to teachers. What are the assessment criteria? What do you want from me? How am I supposed to do this better? That is something where communication is fundamentally important. More generally, the solutions to stress include being aware of stress. Noticing that our body is agitated and in a stress-related situation is a very sensible idea, because it puts us back in the driving seat. Rather than having our autonomic nervous system in the driving seat, we are a bit more self-aware. One of the reasons why we're often told to breathe in order to calm down is because it engages the vagus nerve, which in turn helps stimulate the parasympathetic nervous system. So that nervous system that we need to be in charge in order to rest and digest, that actually gets stimulated by deep breathing. So there is good science behind the breathe in order to calm down idea. And then we also ought to think about some of the essentials. We ought to sweat the small stuff, make sure that we're getting plenty of rest, food and water. Your body is likely to be on edge if you haven't taken care of the absolute fundamentals of living a healthy life. And then finally, you need to frame the sorts of activities you're doing as non-catastrophic. In other words, this essay is not a matter of life or death. If it doesn't work out, there will be other essays. There will be other opportunities to show off your skills. If you frame everything as of the utmost importance to your continued survival, then your inner nervous mammal is going to freak out and think that this is it, this is the most important thing ever. And that sort of catastrophic thinking is certainly something I've been guilty of my entire life, and it has certainly held me back on occasion. So in order for you not to do that, I encourage you to think about it and frame it differently. It's just an essay, it's just another opportunity to show what you're capable of, and it's not the essay. Okay? Anyway, I hope you have a nice National Stress Awareness Day. I hope you are aware of your stress, but not in an uncomfortable way. And yeah, let us know in the comments how you're dealing with it. Thanks so much for watching. Bye now.